Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, there's a heart. I hear the hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a look of somebody who needs you. When you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
In this lab, you will be exploring the molar volume of a gas. Before you begin the procedure, it is important to make sure that you are safe in the lab. You should do this by always wearing protective goggles and an apron. Hydrochloric acid, which is the solution you will be working with, can cause painful burns to the skin. If you spill the solution on yourself, make sure to thoroughly wash the affected area with soap and water. Overall, this lab will show you the behavior of a gas in a reaction and its molar volume.
To start this lab, obtain and wear goggles.
Obtain a 0.01 gram piece of magnesium ribbon. Measure and record its mass. Place the piece of magnesium ribbon in a clean and dry 125 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask.
Prepare a room temperature water bath in a large beaker. The bath should be deep enough to completely cover the gas level in the Erlenmeyer flask.
Connect the gas pressure sensor and the temperature probe to the LabQuest. Choose New from the File menu.
Use the clear tubing to connect the white stopper to the gas pressure sensor. Twist the white stopper snugly into the neck of the Erlenmeyer flask to avoid losing any of the hydrogen gas that will be produced.
Obtain a small amount of 0.1 molarity hydrochloric acid. Draw 5 milliliters of HCl solution into a 20 milliliter syringe. Thread the syringe onto the two-way valve on the white stopper. Submerge the Erlenmeyer flask into the water bath. Position the temperature probe into the water bath so that the tip of the probe is not touching the beaker.
On the meter screen, tap Rate. Change the data collection rate to 1 sample per second and the data collection length to 300 seconds.
With the flask still submerged in the water bath, start the data collection.
A few moments later.
Open the two-way valve directly below the syringe. Press the plunger to add all of the 5 milliliter HCl solution to the flask, and pull the plunger back to its original position. Close the two-way valve.
Keep the flask immersed in the water bath as the reaction proceeds. Data collection will stop after several minutes.
5 minutes later.
Carefully remove the white stopper from the flask to relieve the pressure in the flask.
Next, examine the pressure data and record these values in your data table.
Store the data from the first run by tapping the file cabinet icon.
Rinse, clean, and dry the flask for a second trial. Obtain a new piece of magnesium ribbon and place it in the flask. Repeat the necessary steps to conduct a second and third trial and store the data. Make sure all needed values are recorded to the nearest 100th place in order to accurately calculate. After recording all of your data, determine the change in pressure by subtracting the final pressure from the initial pressure. After recording the mean temperature, you can now use these calculations to determine the molar volume. This shows our data from all trials. Now that you have completed the lab, you can determine the molar volume of the gas produced in the reaction, as well as other gases you might experiment with.